think the last thing we're gonna do is kind of like a quick fire question round type thing. So everybody more or less should have a couple questions to ask, like what all the other coaches are doing, and we'll kind of go from there. We'll start off with Shanks.
Are we starting off with me, or are we starting off with Wilson? I think we can all unmute ourselves. So
Yeah.
Wilson will ask the question, and let's just go in order of how we recorded these. This is real time, you guys. So you're getting a treat from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Put me on the spot. No, I think so obviously we've got a lot of time on our hands, and some of us got more than others, and kind of just doing what we can to stay busy. But I guess like one question is there's a lot of time to ponder. So is there anything like any kind of like, I guess we've been kind of talking about this a lot, and so it's kind of hard to summarize it. But is there any like pearls of wisdom that you guys have thought about like over the past couple of things that in terms of like what you guys have been, obviously we've talked about whys, but is there anything else that you guys use to stay motivated while you guys are running? Something like that? I guess.
I'll go first. This is good. Like, I was trying to find a place where to share this, so this is awesome. So I saw this tweet this last week from Rob Watson. He used to be like semi-elite runner. He says, every run I've ever done has helped me become a better runner. That 10-kilometer I did as a 17-year-old helped me run a 2:13 marathon as a 30-year-old. We may not have specific races coming up, but every run you do matters. Keep running. Keep running. We'll be back together soon enough. And I think that was like just perfect. Is like some of you guys are struggling with like, why? Well, we might not have any races this season, or we might not have a track season. It doesn't matter if you have any races this season, because it's still going to make you a better runner down the road, whether that's next cross country season, whether it's at the end of your high school career, maybe you go on to run in college, like maybe you become somebody like me who is just running, but all of that stacks up on top of each other and continues to make us better throughout.
Yeah, I can go next. I think one of the ways I've been trying to find motivation lately is I've been looking at like a ton of different like other sports that are kind of doing different things and finding different ways to motivate myself. Before we started this call, I was messing around with the ability to like share my screen so everybody could watch, so we could watch this video that Jeff had sent out to us. But one of the tabs I had open was this Muhammad Ali video. It's like a 30-minute long video, but it's just random quotes and stuff he said, and he's obviously one of the greatest of all time, and it's cool to find these athletes in different realms, other sports that have nothing to do with running, and seeing like, what drives them, what motivates them, why are they successful. I think there's huge themes across all sports, like what makes you successful in boxing can be the same exact drive that makes someone successful in running. So I've spent a lot of my free time lately trying to find as many different different sports and using those as a way to motivate myself. And I watched a ton of like Prefontaine videos too, but obviously that's a little bit closer to our sport than boxing is. So but that's what I've been doing motivation wise recently. That's about all I got.
I'll go next, I guess. For me, obviously I can't run very much, so I've been hitting the bike. The more I can get outside, the better. Get the vitamin D, and then just watching some motivational movies. I watched Creed 2 the other night for the first time. That was kind of cool. Never seen that before. Yeah, good flick. And just trying to. I'll get on YouTube and watch different videos. I saved a lot of motivational videos over the years and just kind of replay those, and they always get me kind of pumped up and wishing I could go out there and go hammer 10 miles. But for myself, it's more just getting outside and keep moving. Keep moving right now is the goal.
I can go next. Honestly, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I don't read a lot of articles or watch videos about stuff. So I've just kind of been finding ways to be creative, I guess, with like what I talked about, the social aspect of running. So like the other day I FaceTimed my friend in Seattle while we ran together, and it was like windy on both sides, so we couldn't really hear each other, and like I don't know, it was really nice to just kind of run in spirit with her and know that we might not be together, but we're still running, and I thought that was really fun. And I think I'm gonna try to do that a lot more because that's what I'm missing from the running. So yeah.
Yeah. So in all of this, me and Shanklin. So you're supposed to have social distancing. Good Lord. You're supposed to have social distancing, but if you live in the same household, you can like do things together. So, a few runs this past week, we've like run together, but Shanklin's on the elliptigo because he's not very fast. So, ooh, shots fired. And so we've gone out on like a few runs, and we did like a 10 and a 12 miler. So a lot of time to like talk about the situation, and a lot of time to talk about, training and how things are going for you guys as athletes, how things are going for us as coaches, just kind of the state of the world. And so just like being able to talk with people about your situation, like us being coaches, but also being athletes in our own sense. Like, me and Shanklin, we're not D1 athletes or anything, but just being able to go out there and talk about it all, and then just being able to, at the same time, try to like, crush a workout or something, or try to like pick up the pace, has been good just to kind of keep everything in perspective. So I think that, not everyone right now is able to keep that social distancing thing like separate from their life. Like if you don't live with that person, you're not supposed to do anything with them. But since me and Shanklin live together, it's been really good for us to kind of vent about everything and air it out, but also just get a workout in on the same time.
All right, I'll go next with the question, because I want to see what you guys are doing, and this is going to be a fun question. Show that you're binge watching right now on TV or on Netflix.
I'll go first. I've been binge watching Grey's Anatomy. It's my 4th time watching it through, so I'm really bored. Next.
Yeah, I've been watching, I'm sure a couple other people have, but that Tiger King show, it's so funny to me. I've only watched one episode so far, but I think I'm gonna end up watching them all in like the next couple days. So I got the time for it. So I think that's gonna be what's coming up next for me. Probably like right after we finish this call. So
I can go next. Kind of, or just with a lot of time that I've been watching, I've ran into this random show. It's like these two talk show hosts from Australia called Hamish and Andy, and they kind of just like tour the world and do a bunch of like cultural stuff, but they make it really weird and interesting. It's called Gap Year with Hamish and Andy. So it's on YouTube, but technically it was a TV show at one point. So, but that's kind of what I've been watching and spending my time doing.
Go next. I guess I'm kind of boring. I've been catching up on Chicago Fire. I missed like the last year of episodes, so watching that. Used to be a firefighter back in the day, and then a little bit of Criminal Minds. About it.
Sweet. I think I'm up next for the questions. One of the things I know, like obviously we're talking a lot about, we have a lot of time in our hands. So aside from watching stuff, oh wait, Dalton still gotta go?
It's fine. I've been watching Scrubs.
I thought you were the first one.
No, I haven't. I
Scrubs.
didn't answer. I've seen Scrubs like a million times, but it's my all-time favorite show, and it's great. So if you haven't watched
Great show.
Scrubs, do it. Don't have anything else to add.
All right. Yeah. No, this is the live part back in where we are all, this is one take, no edits. So, but back to what I was saying, I think Wilson and I talk a lot about, we got like Audible, and when we're driving to work, we listen to a lot of audiobooks. So we're kind of using our time a little bit more on that. So I was wondering if anybody had any like book suggestions for if any of you guys want to read. I know it's kind of like not the most exciting thing for a lot of people, but I think there's a lot of good advice in some books. I'll start with mine too. I think I've been reading a lot of books by Steve Magnus lately. He was a distance coach over at down in Texas at University of Houston, and he's incredibly successful in the middle distance events like 800. And I think the most recent one I've read is called Passion Paradox, and it's a really good book about like managing your passion and making sure you don't burn out on it, and that it's something you can do for a really long time and stay successful at it. So, you guys got any other books or like articles or something that you think are good for right now?
I'll go. One book, I read it a long time ago when I used to read. I don't really read too much anymore, hence why I got Audible. But it was called How Bad Do You Want It? I think it's, I don't remember who wrote it, but I have it in my room. But it's one of those books that I think right now, especially, it's a good book to read because it's just a bunch of different stories of athletes that kind of went through something and they had to ask themselves how bad do they want it to win or to be successful. So I think it'd be a great sport or a great book to kind of take a look at, maybe even listen to it. I'm sure it's on Audible. Everything's on Audible these days. So
I read nonfiction, so I can't help you guys out on that. Sorry.
I guess I'll go next. I've been reading or have read 2 books over this break. I'm a slow reader and I don't like long books. So I was telling the coaches this last week. I read a book, What Drives Winning Teams. It's the 3rd book from Brett Ledbetter, who does a conference called What Drives Winning. And he does some other things. So I've been able to see him speak. So read that. And then the other book that I'm rereading is called Tribe by Sebastian Junger, which is a phenomenal book. It takes a little bit to get into, not really related to running necessarily, but it has very real application in a sense to what we're experiencing right now in the world.
I don't do a whole lot of reading. Mostly, if I read, I like the audio books so I can just sit and listen to them. But I've been studying up a lot on different ways to stay motivated, and I've been listening to a lot of the podcasts from Steve Magnus and Jonathan Marcus, and those are really good and pretty interesting to listen to them interview a lot of amazing people, including like Mike Smith and Alan Webb and so forth. Other than that, I've been studying up on how to be a day trader and make some money on the side.
So I read a lot of like medical or science articles, which are really boring, but I've been following like a lot of the COVID virus articles, which is not very fun, but also there's a website called IFL Science, or Science Daily is another one, and they have a lot of articles on a bunch of different things, all kinds of science, but they have like a health and medicine like tab, and I was reading an article or 2 articles yesterday. One was on like asymmetrical running, and one of like the article was talking about Usain Bolt and how he has the convention is that people that have symmetrical running are faster, but they found that Usain Bolt has asymmetrical gait, and the fastest man in the world having asymmetric gait is kind of against the grain. So just going onto those sites is kind of cool to like see all this stuff, because another one was talking about different types of tracks, like whether they're double banked or whether they're standard track, and whether they create world records or not, which is cool. But a book that it hasn't been recently, but it's pretty applicable to right now, is it's a book called Man's Search for Meaning, and it's by Viktor Frankl. And it's a book from someone that was like in Auschwitz in the concentration camps, and he talks about the primary purpose of life, and his like quest for meaning, and like for those who survived, like he talks about a lot of that. So I think that was a pretty cool book. That is, I mean, it's a man's search for meaning, and we're all kind of searching for meaning right now. So it's kind of cool.
Next question.
It's you, Hefe.
Okay, I guess keep this on the up and up. What's your secret talent that nobody knows about? What is your secret talent that no one knows about? Oh gosh, for me, I'm a really good cook. That's mine. I cooked chicken marsala last night.
Yeah, me too.
Whatever.
Yeah, well, that's Wilson's secret talent. I don't know. I think mine would be.
Excuse me?
I mean, most of you guys probably don't know. Wilson would, because we played band in high school, but I can play the saxophone. Or I think I can. I haven't tried in a while. I think I would remember. I'm pretty sure I could still do it. But that would probably be mine, just because I don't think a lot of people know, because it's been a while since I played. But that would probably be it.
I'll go next. Back when I was a weird sophomore in high school, I had a phase where I was like really into magic. So I spent like 3 months just kind of watching YouTube videos on how to do magic tricks. So I know a couple magic tricks, but that's about it. Other than that, I'm pretty.
You showed us some
I did show you guys some.
card tricks.
Still remember them.
Similar to Hefe's, I bake. I baked 2 types of banana bread yesterday. So, let's see your talent. That's all I have.
What is your guys' secret talent?
I honestly don't have a secret talent. I'm really gonna have to think on this question. So if something comes to mind by the end of this, I will let you know. But I don't think I have any secret talent.
Yeah.
Maybe Dalton knows
I
because
have.
he lives with me.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at croquet. That's about all I got. If anyone knows about Chip's secret talent, you know, bird banger. Yeah, we're gonna go with croquet. We're gonna go with.
Okay, my question. Everyone answered, right?
Yeah.
My question is simple. I have personally been snacking a lot this quarantine. So what have you guys been snacking on?
Oh, I will go first. I can show you right now. I've got these extra toasty Cheez-Its. They're the best flavor that Cheez-Its has ever made. They just burn them. They just leave them in the oven longer, and they're burnt, and they're the best. So that's what I've been eating way too much of those, for sure.
I can attest those are the best Cheez-Its. Unfortunately, I cannot find them in any store right now, which is kind of upsetting. So I guess my snack is, it's kind of like a typical college. It's just frozen waffles. I eat a lot of frozen waffles. Just
I think you ate like 8 today.
you can just continue doing whatever you're doing and then come back and then you got it's waffle time, so.
I'll go next. Before the movie theater closed, I went to a movie and got a large popcorn and definitely didn't finish it. So I was snacking on that. And then I actually stole some of Coach Jensen's ice cream the other night. It was cookies and cream. Hats off to him. And I was like, I want some ice cream. So he gave it to me. So I guess I didn't steal it, but it was really delicious.
So I didn't think I liked like coconut, and I went to the store like 2 weeks ago when everyone was panic buying everything, and I was like, oh, I should probably go to the store and get some food. And I found those Girl Scout type cookies that have coconut Samoa.
Samoas.
So I bought those. They're like the Walmart brand version of them, and I was like, oh, I'll get these for Shanklin because I know Shanklin loves coconut, and he like loves these cookies. And then I got them, and I was like, hey man, look what I got you. And he's like, oh sweet. And then I have been eating all of his Samoas, and I like can't stop. So I guess I love coconut now, but that's kind of what I've been snacking on every day and every night.
Just for me, pretzels. I got this big thing of pretzels, and they're pretty much gone already. And just got some more trail mix. Yeah.
Last one?
Yeah, I think so.
Not everybody listens to podcasts, but I'm like a pretty big person. So are there any podcasts that you recommend or have been listening to either for a long time or since you've been in quarantine?
I personally like the Murder Mystery podcast if I listen to them. I don't very often because we can't drive anywhere. But yeah, that's the ones I like.
Yeah, I mostly do the Flow Track podcast. They're like, you can do the audio versions of them through like Apple and stuff, but I usually watch the video from Flow Track. They did one with Tyler Day. I thought that was really cool. But I usually watch them every once in a while. I'm like, these guys say some dumb stuff, but I think they're fun to watch. So that's probably the one I do.
The ones I listened to was listening to Magnus and Marcus podcasts, and there's some good podcasts in there. Until Jonathan Marcus went off the deep end, so he kind of drives me insane now. So I'm listening to the Coaching Runner podcast, which is hosted by Jay Johnson. There was one this past week where he interviewed Dr. Jeff Messer, who is a coach and professor down in Arizona. He coached at Desert Vista, wrote a lot of the training there when they were highly successful, has been kind of a volunteer coach there now, still writes the training. Look them up, but he did one on COVID-19, talking about training during these times and what that means. And so it was a good listen when I left to go by myself the other day. Also because he threw shade at Jonathan Marcus because of Jonathan Marcus's ridiculous tweets that he's put out. So highly recommend that, especially if you're interested in coaching or you just want to know more about the sport. Yeah, Dylan and Steves, I'm looking at you right now. So yeah, check it out.
I guess I haven't. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I also listen to the Flow Track one. I don't really listen to podcasts very much. I listen to them sometimes when I'm driving to work, but that's about it. So
I just started listening to Marcus and Magnuson's old podcast with Mike Smith, and listened to a couple of those last week while I was driving to Nebraska to get my daughter, and that's really been about it. Yeah, for those of you that want to listen to something interesting, if you're looking for different coaches. Shanklin's favorite, Dr. Messer, Jay Johnson, and Mike Smith. Find those guys out there, and you can learn a lot.
Basically, you'll learn everything that we do. Now, small world here. Dr. Jeff Messer, who I was just talking about, he was actually Sebastian Younger's roommate in college, the guy that I was talking about that wrote the book Tribe. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, unless anybody has like closing comments, I think that's about what we've got for the day.
Yeah.
Run fast, run happy, stay positive.
Yeah, just stay consistent out there. I know I've talked to a few athletes and they're having a hard time like trying to get out there and stay consistent, but just try to get out there every day and do the work if you can't. If you're not motivated, then find somebody that is motivated, and if you don't get out there one day, just like get out the next day. So we're still training for a season. It hasn't been canceled, so treat it like it hasn't been canceled. If we have a meet next week, then we expect you to be ready for next week. So keep it up.
The only thing that I want to say is practice gratitude. Has made this week so much easier for me, so much better. I just continue to practice gratitude and everything.
Well, I think that's about everything. So hopefully, if you guys watch this whole thing, you're troopers. This was like, I think, a lot longer than we initially thought it was going to be. But hopefully you guys like it. We will obviously still be reaching out to you guys as much as we can. Feel free to reach out to us whenever. And yeah, hopefully you guys do well and stay healthy and keep running and you find your why. So, sweet. I think that's it. Adios, Frontier.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.